Assalamu alaikum, dear children, students, other viewers. I am Farooq Loan. Today we have a bit hard topic. It might not be that hard if you put all your concentration on the slides and on the things that I'll be telling you in the slides. And second thing, it will be always there on the YouTube. You'll always watch it. You will play it backward, you will play it forward, and you will maybe keep it on loop so that you will watch it continuously till you understand it better, until you understand it completely. And I won't go into translations or any other detail because they are self-explanatory. The slides I'm talking about. First of all, what is an adjective clause? It's not clauses here. It might be clause because I have used an here. So in is always used with singular, that are countable nouns. So an adjective clause modifies, again I have done a mistake. An adjective clause modifies a noun. It describes or gives information about a noun. An adjective clause follows a noun. Some examples are: I met a man who's kind to everyone. I met a woman who is a famous poet. I met a girl who lives in Chicago. What is the noun in each sentence and what is the adjective clause? So I have given you three examples. One example is: I met a man who is kind to everyone. I met a woman who is a famous poet, and I met a girl who lives in Chicago. The questions for you are: what is the noun in each sentence, and what is the adjective clause? So you have to remember this rule, how to recognize an adjective clause. So you have some formulas here through which you can recognize an adjective clause. First, it will contain a subject and a verb. Next, it will begin with a relative pronoun. Relative pronouns, you know, are who, whom, whose, that, which, and I guess we did a video on these relative pronouns. Or a relative adverb. Relative adverb means when, where, and why. So recognizing an adjective clause, finally it will function as an adjective answering the question. For example, what kind, how many, which one. So it any answer with these questions, you may get to adjective clauses. Follow this pattern. Adjective clause will have one of these two patterns: relative noun or adverb plus subject plus verb, and relative pronoun as subject plus verb. There are two kinds of clauses: independent clause and dependent clause. एक ऐसा clause जिसका दारोमदार दूसरे जुमले पे होता है, और ऐसा clause जो एक बहसत खुद एक जुमला होता है. डिपेंडेंट उसको हम इंडिपेंडेंट कहते हैं, और डिपेंडेंट उसको कहते हैं जिसका दारोमदार किसी और जुमले पे रहता है. Independent clauses can complete a sentence all by themselves. Example, we are studying grammar. We is the subject and are studying is the verb. Questions and independent clauses. A complete question can also be considered an independent clause. Example, what are you doing? Have you lost your mind? So an order, a command, and independent clauses. A command or an order can also be considered an independent clause. Example, stand up for your rights. Get out right now. So these are commands and they stand independent. अगर आप इनको कुछ ऐड, मैंने वीडियो के आगाज में बोला मैं ट्रांसलेशन नहीं करूँगा, बट आई एम कंपेल्ड टू सो दैट I can justify with the things I'm saying. Stand up for your rights, get out, ये command हो गया, तो इसको हम कुछ ऐड नहीं करते हैं. They stand on their own as a sentence, as sentences. For example, stand up for your rights, a complete sense there है, so it's an independent clause. Get out your rights, ये command भी है और independent clause भी है. Then we have dependent clauses are different. कैसे? A dependent clause needs, again clauses मैंने लिखा है यहाँ पर, so too many mistakes, sorry for that. A dependent clause needs something else in order to be complete. For example, after you finish. तो क्या after you finish कुछ incomplete लग रहा है? Finish what? You need to know more information. This is the first half of a dependent clause, जिसका दारोमदार किसी और पे रहता है, इसको हम dependent clause कहते हैं. So dependent clause के 3 किस्म होते हैं: adverb clauses, noun clauses and adjective clauses. Adverb clauses क्या होते हैं? Adverb clauses are attached to dependent clauses. Example: I will finish this presentation after I take a cat nap. So cat nap is actually a one word here. I forgot to bring them closer. The underlined part is the adverb clause. After I take a cat nap. So this is the adverb clause. Okay. So noun clauses, what are noun clauses? Noun clauses are dependent clauses that take the place of a single noun. Dependent clauses हैं, दारोमदार इनका रहता है किसी और पे. इतना लर कुलिस इस दक्ष था वह बे कुन कुलिस पे तिमुक तिमसे dependent चासना तथ लोरी पे. Similarly, dependent clauses, they depend on other clauses. They can be used anywhere. Anywhere, nouns can be used as subjects or objects. More on noun clauses usually begin with that or WH word. WH means you know them already. Who, whom, what, why, where, when. That can be removed if there is another subject in the clause. So noun clauses can be used as subjects in a place of simple nouns. Example: Mary saw the robbery. Mary is subject here. Even more on noun clauses. In place of simple nouns, a noun clause can also be used as objects after verbs or prepositions. Example, दो examples दिए हैं मैंने. I believe you are right. So adjective clauses, and adjective clause is similar to a noun clause in the sense that WH words and that are used as pronouns to introduce the clause. More on adjective clauses. An adjective clause can be used to describe or modify a noun, can be used in place of a single adjective, should follow the noun it modifies. So तीन चीजें याद रखो आप. Now it's practice time. What is the adjective clause in the following sentence? यहाँ पे आपको बोलना है adjective clause कौन सा इस sentence में. The sentence is: the man who is riding a bicycle is the new president of the company. The man who is riding a bicycle is the new president of the company. यहाँ पे आपको बोलना है कि adjective clause कौन सा है. Obviously, I hope you might have come with the right answer. The man who is riding a bicycle is the new president of the company. The answer is man who is riding a bicycle, because it was the question कि आपको बोलना था कि adjective clause कौन सा था उस sentence में. The idea was the man is the president of the company. So important to remember, the adjective clause has to immediately follow the word that it describes. Adjective reminder: if the adjective clause is placed in the wrong spot, it becomes a dangling modifier. So it is here, but it's read it as it becomes a dangling modifier. There are so many typos in these slides, excuse me for that. Example is: my uncle is a doctor who lives in Srinagar. So this is a dangling because we have put this adjective clause at the end of the first clause, who lives in Srinagar. So it is a sort of dangling, hanging somewhere. So and the correct way should be: my uncle who lives in Srinagar is a doctor. यहाँ पे क्या था? My uncle is a doctor who lives in Srinagar. और correct way क्या है? My uncle who lives in Srinagar is a doctor. There are two kinds of adjective clauses: restrictive and non-restrictive. Restrictive and non-restrictive, इस पे थोड़ी सी अभी differentiate करने की कोशिश करेंगे. Restrictive clause or clauses are necessary for identification. Tell which one. Do not have commas around clause. Non-restrictive clause, on the other hand, are interesting like gossip, but don't identify or tell which one. Always have commas around clause. So restrictive clause, important to remember that restrictive clauses help in identifying, telling which one is doing what activity. Again, I did this mistake too here, so sorry for that also. Telling which one is doing what activity. Okay. Example time: the man who's blowing the whistle is the coach. In my case, Ashsab is the coach. Ashsab खुश हो गए आप. The restrictive clause identifies who the person that is blowing the whistle. यहाँ पे देखें आप example, the man who's blowing the whistle is the coach. So the restrictive clause identifies the person that is blowing the whistle. यहाँ पे restrictive clause आपको बोल रहा है कि कौन सा शख्स whistle blow कर रहा है. And non-restrictive clauses are not as specific in identifying as the restrictive clauses. For example, they include the use of commas in the clause. Again, mistake, in the clause यहाँ पे है. Example time, the man who is blowing the whistle is the coach. The restrictive clause identifies the person that is blowing the whistle. So यहाँ पे restrictive clause identify करता है उस person को जो whistle को blow करता है. Again, example time, we have the man was whistling which was annoying. So this is vague and does not indicate which man was whistling. So unrestricted here is the coordination. Now we have coordination, so you have to avoid this sentence most of the times, the man which was whistling which was annoying. So it seems somewhat vague, ambiguous, and you don't know what this sentence is all about. Now we have coordination. Coordination is a useful way of connecting ideas that are roughly equal in importance. But often we need to show that one idea in a sentence is more important than another. जो दो sentences हो, दो clauses हो, एक sentences में एक clause को हम prefer करते हैं, उसकी importance ज़्यादा होती है. तो वो दिखाने की उसको दिखाने की सूरत में how can this sentence be combined? My father is a superstitious man. He always sets his unicorn traps at night. दो sentences हैं because you have a period at the end of first clause. So क्या बन जाएगा इसका आंसर? When the sentences are coordinated in this way, each main clause is given equal emphasis. तो equal emphasis यहाँ पे मिल रहा है. My father is a superstitious man. Then comma, you can combine them with the conjunction here, and he always sets his unicorn traps at night. Then we have subordination. Subordination is needed to indicate that one part of a sentence is secondary or subordinate to another part, commonly used in adjective clauses. Example, my father, who is a superstitious man, always sets his unicorn traps at night. तो यहाँ पे importance दूसरे clause को मिल रहा है. Always sets his unicorn traps at night. यहाँ पे equal importance था. आप देखें यहाँ पे my father is a superstitious man and he always sets his unicorn traps. यहाँ पे balance हो रहा है. दोनों जो clauses हैं balance हैं. किसी पे कोई प्रेफरेंस नहीं है, किसी पे कोई इंपॉर्टेंस नहीं है, दोनों सेम है, दोनों बराबर है. और यहाँ पे जो दूसरा क्लॉज है वो ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट दिख रहा है. ऑलवेज सेट्स हिज यूनिकॉर्न ट्रैप्स बिकॉज इट्स द सेंटेंस इज मोर फोकस्ड ऑन द second part of the sentence, that is second clause in the sentence. As a reminder, it's important to remember that relative clauses are quite extensive and can take some time to fully understand. However, practice makes a man perfect, but I don't believe in perfection. Practice makes a man permanent. Again, this is all for today. Thank you for your kind attention. If you have any doubts, please reach to me at this number or email ID. I'll be soon coming to you with some new stuff. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.